In this episode we will continue our road trip in East Germany. Firstly, we will head into one of the many former strongholds of the former Soviet Union. After that, we head inside the over 100-year-old swimming pool. Join us on the last episode of our epic DDR road trip. During last summer, we did our first big road trip. This time we traveled to Eastern Germany to discover the many remains of the former DDR. During this 5-day road trip, we came across the most epic locations. From secret Soviet bases to beautiful ornate castles. We will start our adventure at the former Soviet base. A couple of meters into the forest, we already came across the concrete wall, surrounding the whole base. The decay throughout the years weakened the wall though.
12 springen.
So getting in was not that bad. Through the wilderness we finally witnessed a large yellow building. The building in question is actually part of a massive military complex. Nowadays just empty spaces remain of the abandoned complex. As you can see, the architecture is quite grand and doesn't really resemble the typical Soviet design. This is because this isn't Soviet at all. It is actually a Nazi design, dating all the way back to the 1930s. We will continue this small history lesson when we get inside.
Yes.
Finding an entrance was actually harder than we thought. Luckily, we found an open window, so let's enter the building. Inside we got into an empty, decaying room. It may not seem much, but the mysterious past can be noticed already on the walls. The walls were covered with old Soviet papers, which truly set the tone of this exploration. So let's head further and explore the building. The military bases in Eastern Germany are quite famous for their many Soviet murals. And the rumors are that this building has some pretty impressive ones. But why really are there so many Russian elements in this German complex? This can be traced back to the start of World War II. At this time the Nazi regime started to construct a network. What you may know already is that the Nazi regime was eventually beaten. On Hitler's own birthday, this base was finally captured by the Russians. After this, they converted it into their own military base to prepare for the next supposed threat, called the Cold War. Alright, we found some cool items. I'm not sure about what these items were, but they look like they were used for training or something similar. Further we finally came to the middle of the building, which had this great big window. The reason why it closed, by the way, can be traced back to the fall of the DDR. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the Soviet military had no reason anymore to be stationed here, which meant that this old complex was finally abandoned. Downstairs a true surprise was awaiting us. What you are witnessing right now is a Soviet mural, which truly showed you the pride of the Soviet military. Unfortunately, we were also disturbed at this moment. While taking photos, we heard a van driving on the compound. And a couple of minutes later, we also heard a drone flying right above us. Could this be a security drone? We didn't know, but we were sketched out a bit, so we decided to explore the theater first. The theater was quite cool, really. Back in the days, many military briefings were done here. We decided to check if the drone was gone though. Alright, we didn't know if he had seen us, but we decided that hiding was our best option. Situations like these are always a bit stressful and unpredictable. But we decided that we really had to escape this place. The problem only was that we had to go all the way back to our original access point. The coast seemed clear. Alright, we succeeded at the most risky part, and that was the grand staircase. From this point we were relatively safe. After a couple of minutes, we were finally at the exit. It's kind of a shame that we couldn't finish off our exploration, but we'll try to go back in the future. Let's continue to our next location. Alright, right now we're in the middle of a major city, where supposedly a big swimming pool should be located. Exploring in urban areas is always a bit different. Entrances are especially a bit harder compared to the more rural places. And this place really didn't seem any different. Everything was shut tight. Finally, we found an entrance. And as you can see, it was hidden quite well. But let's finally enter the building though. Inside we came into the cellar, which contained some old papers. We also noticed that decay was present, which always is a positive. Basements in swimming pools are usually used to house the boilers, to heat up the water. So we hope to come across some cool machinery. We were right, we found our first machines, which also contained a rather nice skylight. Next to this, another cool artifact could be found. And that was this old scale model. We aren't sure if this was the pool which replaced this building. But okay, we didn't come here for the machinery. What we heard was that this former pool contained some fine architecture. So let's try to find that part of the building. For this, we first had to leave the cellar though. Finally, we were at the first highlight. and that was this stunning grand entrance. In its heyday, countless families would enter this grand space. The people nowadays are gone, but the atmosphere really never left. At the end of the hallway, the word Schwimmhalle could be read. This means a swimming pool in German. But we will finish off with this part. So let's first enter some other rooms. I first came across this small but rather nice room. The mixture of decay and big windows truly show the classic architecture. In the next room though, the true beauty could be witnessed. This grandiose tiled room was the former spa. This spa dates all the way back to 1906 and it was built because most of the nearby households didn't yet have their own showers. The spa right here is actually influenced by Roman and Russian bathhouses. And these details can still be admired. The pillars were also decorated with these copper kind of seahorses. It truly shows you just the amount of time and effort that went into building this wonderful structure. It's time to move on though. At the end of the grand entrance, we went into the fitness center. It was heavily modernized, unfortunately. So let's continue into the last part. And that was this grand swimming pool. The pool was absolutely stunning. It truly was stunning, with the near church-like arches and the windows which allows the light to flood in. At the end, this place had to close down to high operation costs. This reason is truly a recurring factor with pretty much every building we have visited on this trip. It really shows that life in the DDR was truly something else. And to this day, this lifestyle can still be witnessed in the vast landscape. The future of this swimming pool is actually very bright. This is because that pretty much 1 month after our visit, this building was bought by an investor. So right now, this former pool is being restored in its original condition. The buildings we have visited before on our trip are probably not that lucky. With this, we finished off our last spot on our big DDR road trip. East Germany was personally truly something else, compared to Western Europe. With the many grand old buildings, mixed with decay, it was truly an unforgettable trip. Hopefully one day I will have the chance to return to this beautiful region. These kinds of series are pretty new to the channel. What is your opinion on this new style of videos?